Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I've had a chance to have a chat with you, and I've missed you. And I hope everything is good for you and you're doing great and sorting things out. Today, I had a few hours before my next appointment, and I thought it's time to share something with you, and I hope that I can do justice to what I want to deliver. And there's some noise out there. I hope you can you can you can ignore the noise. And let me also shut this noise up for you, and then let's see if we can have a chat. Again, what I want to talk to you about, it's in regards to relationship pains. And I know how important it is for every one of us to be able to figure that out. And I believe the only way that we can endure this sort of situations or feelings and figure them out and continue on and enjoy our lives is by knowledge. You know, you can only hear so much of what there, you'll be okay, things, But unless you really understand the psyche, it would be more difficult to reason with this, to figure it out. So here we go. Look, when we break up, what happens? First of all, it's all up here. We react to something. We react to something that happened. Now, do we react to something that happened, or do we react to the consequences? Like, when this, if I'm a child or if I'm whoever, young, old, whatever, if this falls down from my hand on the floor, on the concrete floor, I get certain emotion, certain reaction. Am I reacting to what happened, or am I reacting to the consequence of what happened? If this happened, it fell down, and okay, I pick it up and use it. But if it falls down and breaks, or on the way falling down, I think about the consequence of it. That is what I react to. And the consequence of this falling is, it's going to break, it's going to make a mess, I got to clean up. If I don't, somebody walks on it, it's going to cut their feet, or a child walks in, or I walk in, and it takes my time. I want to go on an appointment, I've got things to do, and then I got to go buy another one, and I lost my drink, and I don't have that. All of these consequences is really what I'm getting pissed and reacting to. So it is actually, I'm worrying about a consequence, and the consequence brings fear. And the fear is created when we compare what it is to what it could be, or what it will be, or it might be, or what it was to what it is, or what it is to what it was, or what it is to what it may be. These comparisons are what really brings fear. And the fear often comes because of the worry of a consequence. And the consequence and the worry of it is really created in our mind way before it actually becomes a reality. In other words, we conjure it up. It's what I call a transient thoughts. We thought of it when it hasn't even happened, may not even happen. Like this one was an example that this actually broke, and we then go with all these other things that may happen. Somebody cut their feet, things that haven't happened. But sometimes we don't even wait for that. We actually, while we're trying to drink, we say, what if it falls? What if it breaks? What if it cuts somebody? Things that never even happen, may never even become a reality, but we conjured up. That's transient thoughts. which in fact, by the way, one of the books that is almost done is about transient thoughts. So remember, transient thoughts are a very important part of problems that we all encounter, because there are thoughts that are not invited. They appear in our heads and they take our time and wonder what the hell it means and what it has to do with me and all these things, which I've talked about it in that book, and hope you'll purchase it. Otherwise, so when it's launched, I'll announce it. So what we actually are dealing here with is about transient thought. And transient thought itself, it's an interesting subject, because it's a side effect of a mental manifestation. I wrote something, let me read it for you. Transient thought is a side effect of a mental manifestation of a conditioning to discover. On top of other explanations that I have in the book for you, which is for day-to-day use of it and what it, in the majority of the cases, and how it is really, this particular one is in relation to why we actually have developed these condition, or this ability to create transient thoughts. Because what we talk in the book is transient thoughts that we we haven't invited, and it has its own explanations. But transient thoughts is also a condition that through history, a caveman or human being by default has created it as an ability, because we always wanted to survive. To survive, from millions of years ago, we learned, or when we went there, we fell. And when we fell, we kind of, hurt our hand or our head. Blood came. And then what we should do not to fall is to put our feet here, not here. Step our feet securely this way, not. So we're learning all those time, a million years ago. We start learning. And so to survive, we had to imagine, understand, devise things, create things logically, figure out things. And then through the ages, of course, we used all these abilities to figure things out and think about them. If I do this, it's not good because it becomes like this. It could be hazardous, so I should do it this way. It will be safe. So we conditioned ourselves to have this ability of think things through, designing, figure things out, taking its bugs out, and so on. So thoughts became a process, material process, and our ability and talent to figure things out. And then we entered in different era and so on, and we learned about things like, talented inventors and chess players, and these type of things needs imagination. A chess player needs to think, if I do this, then he'll do that, then he'll do that, then possibly if doing that, possibly doing that. So he goes to the end of the game as far as he can before he makes his move. And an inventor also has an ability to figure things out, and consequences of it. If he does it this way, this will happen. The reaction of the machine will be this way, or the design will act this way. And then he goes and goes and goes and goes till he finds a problem in it, and then it changes his path and shows him that he shouldn't go this way, or should design a different way, and so on and so forth. All these talents by itself for the betterment of human being, for bettering of our lifestyles and abilities and life standards, itself was a practice to create a way and a talent for our mind to do this conjuring up, calculations, which in other parts of our life, if it's not for invention or playing chess or doing something specific, it's useless. And the mind gets into that groove of creating thoughts when it's not necessary to create them. So sometimes the ability to imagine and all that is good for creating things, but because we have conditioned ourselves to have that talent, then it sometimes can have our mind, without our order, go on to the end of something that we don't need it, such as if this falls, and it simply falls, okay, I broom it out and that's the end of it. But the mind goes into as if it's a game, or if it needs to be thought through to the end of the possibilities of what it can happen. That's a transient thoughts, that a kind of transient thoughts that is not necessary, but we go through it. So back to the relationship thing. So when a breakup happens, and your mind, through the ages, through the history, through genes, through generations, have already inherited these abilities and these capturing abilities of thoughts flowing out there, which is explained in detail in the book, may actually end up thinking about the consequences of this breakup when it hasn't even happened, or may never happen, or most probably will never happen. But we go through a consequence, and then we create a fear for ourselves. So, for example, we have been trained to, grow up, and we discussed in other videos, go to school and grow up, get a job, and and have a wife, and then have children, and then we have a girlfriend now, and we treat her greatly, like a princess, and then we're good to her and all, and then she cheats on us, or she leaves us, or somehow she becomes uninterested. And everybody has the right to change their minds, and women have double right to change their minds. I mean, that's how I'm trained. Women have all the right in the world, and that's okay. So we don't react to what their choices are, and we shouldn't. They have their rights, and we should protect them and respect their choices as they should respect our choices. So she leaves for one reason or another. She leaves. So what do? Now we go. We don't just stop it as, it was a relationship, she changed as everybody else, and everything else in the universe changes, and I changed, and she didn't like what I was, or I didn't like what she was, or she wanted something else, or she didn't like herself, or she was not able to, meet my standards, and she could see it, and she felt it's better to leave, or whatever. But we don't stop that. We just think, oh my goodness, she left me. So what happened to all that condition? They have to get married and have children and all that. Also, so what if nobody else I find nobody else? When am I going to find it? And what is it going to happen? And then I'm going to be alone. Then this is Shez, and she likes somebody else, so that somebody else is better than me. And then that means I'm not good enough. Then we create all these bullshit, which is transient thoughts. None of them are true, but we created. Why? Because we are accustomed to, beside what I just explained, that's why we have this talent of bullshit thinking. Sometimes purposely we think of something, or sometimes just not. We think that we are accustomed to think that what we see or what we know we believe. Human beings usually, what they know of something firsthand by themselves, they had a chance to experience it, or they read about it, or one way or another, they know about something. So what they know, they believe, and what they see, they believe. So that means what they don't see, they don't believe. What they don't know is hard for them to accept. That's why there's always confrontations and divisions in discussions, because one of them knows something, the other one doesn't, the other one knows something else, and he thinks what he knows is right, and the other one thinks what he knows is right. And neither one of them have seen it, so they really don't get into any kind of a conclusion or agreement. So, when a breakup happens, because they don't see another girl lining up or being there, they think it will never happen. Because what they don't see, they don't believe. And what they don't know, they don't believe. So they don't know if this is going to happen, so they don't have any reason to believe that there would be other girls, there would be other women. If not today, not tomorrow, the next day. It's just bound to happen, because we're all part of this universe, and the particles of the universe always, collide with each other, whether we want it or not. We're going to meet somebody. The odds of meeting someone is far greater than just walking in this universe and not colliding to anything, not interacting with anybody, not meeting someone. It just doesn't happen. Especially these days, the chances are far more than before. We had only maybe at one time 1 or 2 or 3 billion people. We have 7 billion people in this world. So we have nothing to worry about. But this is why we simply don't understand that things will happen the way they should happen for us. It's not that this girl left, and then because we don't see another girl lining up, and because we don't know what the future holds, therefore we don't think that anything good will happen, and we believe that because we don't see it, we don't know it, then therefore this is the end of it, nothing happens. And then we go on and on, oh, what am I going to do? And then, so why am I working? What am I studying? And all these thoughts, nonsense thoughts, transient thoughts, we think of the consequence. So all these, a breakup, as simple as it is, to go on and move on and forget it, and it eventually happens anyhow, whether you want it or not, you're going to forget it as the time passes by. Because all fears are time sensitive. Like something shocking happens to you, sort of shocking. Let's say you face with some unexpected expenses, a few dollars, $20, $30, $50, $100, but you didn't expect it, and you have the money. It's not like you're poor, but you didn't expect it, and as soon as it comes up, you get fear of a consequence. What's the consequence? Consequence is what your thoughts conjure up. Goes to the end of it, like the chess game. Oh my goodness, $20, then this $20, and another $20. What if that I would not have enough money? What if I don't make enough money? What if this $20 or $100 goes away? Then means eventually I'll spend more money. They'll be added to my costs, and I'll have not enough money. Then you get fearful of things that don't even matter and won't even happen, and it hasn't happened. It will never happen. It won't even be a consequence to you. But you create it, you make a big deal. Why? Because you go to the end of it, because that's how your mind somehow through the ages have been conditioned to do, if you haven't yourself trained it due to good things in life, like invention, chess, or other repetition things, other things that you had to think about, figure out things, which teaches you and makes you able to calculate things and analyze things and figure out consequences to better your lives and survive and protect yourself. So all of that's coming to the picture, and you go on and create things that makes you fearful of that $20 that you're supposed to be spending when you really actually have the money. So those are things that it could affect you, but really it shouldn't. So in this stage of the pain of the breakup, you also react to all these fears. You create the fear of me not finding someone else, fear of why then this happened to me, fear of then I'm not adequate, the other one is better. You compare yourself with what you were when she was coming and laying beside you, and you were having your great manly man thing, and then now you're saying, oh, because that's not happening, therefore I'm not as man as before, or then you create all these fears and consequences and so on for yourself. These are all about your psyche. It's all about your consciousness. You react to your consciousness. How you're conditioned, you react to it. So you're conditioned to react badly and negatively and fearfully with a consequence, and your thought process becomes a consequence when there's a breakup. You're conditioned to think that's a bad thing. What am I going to do with it now? You need to recondition yourself. Who said that I have to behave this way when a breakup happens? Who said that I should think that that's the end of the world? That's really bad. That has a consequence to my future, getting married and having the plans that I'm programmed to have. Grow up, have a job, and get married, and have a child, and da-da-da-da. Who says that I have to now react to a breakup as the whole world has come to an end? Who says that I should consider my manhood having to do with having a girlfriend, and when I don't have it, well, I'm not as man as before, or somebody else is more man than me because she's chosen her. We've talked about this. If she chose her, that's her problem, not yours. It's not a reflection on you. We talked about it. Somebody, likes to be in a stable. Okay, that doesn't mean that the house, a palace, is a bad place. It means her taste or his taste is to be in a stable. That has no consequence on the quality of another kind of domain some of us choose to live. So people are different, and people have different choices and tastes. And if somebody goes out with somebody else, which doesn't mean that you're inferior to him. It may actually means that he is totally inferior to you, but her taste is a lower grade of something. So again, you cannot come up with any of these sort of bullshit nonsense and judging yourself in that way. So, getting back to what we were saying, people react to whatever is here, consciousness. And that's why there's always division and differences between people, and they react to their own conditions, and everybody's been conditioned same but yet differently, because we live in the same world, but some things are the same but in many different ways, and we react to whatever it is in our conscious, which is a conditioning of the whole of us. And so that's why it is inevitable to have divisions and conflicts between people, and breakup is a natural process of life. And you should remember that. Now, the whole reason that I started this conversation was to deliver these little things for you to remember and see. Let's see if I have written anything else for you. Pretty much it. You need to recondition yourself. You've been conditioned to react in a certain way when a breakup happens, to think of it as a disaster, to think of it as a diminishing of your character, to think of it as the way you think of it because you've been conditioned through the ages, through societies and tribal conditions and tribal customs and rituals, to think this is how it should be feeling. You should be feeling that way. Recondition yourself. Do not react to the consequences that you, whether it's their reality or you conjure it up through transient thoughts. Do not react to consequences, because consequences brings fear, and it is fear of comparing yesterday to today and today to tomorrow. If today will be as yesterday, or if yesterday was good, will it be good today as well? Or is tomorrow going to be different than today because I feel comfortable now? All these comparisons is what brings fear. And when it brings fear, then the pain of the relationship still stays, because you are fearful of not fulfilling what you had planned or the society had planned for you, as they have shown what the natural or normal way of life is normal to them. But you have conditioned to think that's how your life should be, and for that you need the girlfriend. And if the girlfriend breaks up and you don't see a prospect right away, then you panic and you start comparing and you create fears, and these fears constantly stay, and the fears would not even allow you to go out and find someone because you're now fearful. What do you do when you're fearful? You go like this, you stay home, you're fearful. So get this bloody fear out of your mind. Understand that this fear is because of comparing the situations of yesterday to today and tomorrow, and understand that these fears don't have to be there. It's a conditioning that makes you fearful of it. And the whole process of breakup should not be something fearful, should not be something that is like bad, the end of the world. That happens. You all react to your consciousness, and consciousness are different, so you guys will have differences, if not at the beginning of the relationship, in the middle, or towards the end of it. Somehow these differences in the consciousness, the contents of your consciousness is different than the contents of the consciousness of the girlfriend, and vice versa, and then eventually you may decide that this doesn't work for you. So you go away and you find somebody else that would have more things in common, more compatible to you. That's normal. So stop this allowing the fear to be created because of the consequences, because of the breakup, and then consequences, you think of that, then you create fear, and the fear stays with you, and therefore you're devastated, sad, and you think it's really the girlfriend. It's not the girlfriend, it's the fear. It's the fear that your order has changed. Will I have the same order as I had before? Will it happen again? I don't see it. How could it happen? Well, you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. As I said before, you're walking along a trail, you see a hill. Just because you don't see the other side of the hill doesn't mean that there is not an oasis on the other side. So, I hope this was something for you to think about. I hope I delivered some points to make you understand that this whole pain that you're going through is illusory. It's not really real. You're conditioned to be in pain. You're conditioned to be afraid. You're conditioned to think this is a bad thing, end of the world, and she was everything, the whole world, and so on. And if you're a lady watching this, vice versa. He was whatever. So you can always create better situation than you had before by understanding that this is not a reality. This is just a reaction to an emotion, reaction to a conditioning of 1,000 years coming to you through genes and rituals and customs and so on, traditions and so on. And it's not the way you should actually allow it to carry on. You can simply recognize what happened, accept what happened, and understand there are a lot more out there possibilities and people that you can have and find things in common with, and go and find them. Socialize, be around positive people, enjoy your life, and mingle and choose correctly. Choose properly. You can't be choosing on the basis of just the physical appearance, because the physical appearance is nice, but the contents of what that physical appearance entails is really what keeps it all together. You go buy a suit or a dress, the physical appearance of the textile or the design of it is great, the color combination is great, but you put it on, it's not the right size, you can't use it. So the size is important. Not just the size, you put it on, the size is okay, but the seams are not well done. They come apart. So the quality of the seams are important. So really, what's holding this whole suit and clothes, this dress, are the nitty-gritties and details. It's not just the design and look and color of it that makes it worthwhile and do you good. It's actually how it's going to hold itself together. And what holds a relationship together is how you guys are compatible, what she or he has in her mind, their ways of thinking, what's in their consciousness, their level of understanding, humanity, compassion, caring, unselfishness, all the qualities that is going to make them to be as beautiful as their external extremities, as their physical being is or not. Otherwise, lots of beautiful thing out there. That doesn't mean anything. Snake is beautiful in a way, colorful and all that, but really, I don't want to be around him. And many other things in life could look good, but looking good, This thing looks pretty good, but depending on how it's made, how much sugar, how much salt, how much garbage, how much chemical is in it or not in it, is what makes it nutrition. Good for me or kill me. So the appearance is appealing, but the content, the ingredients, is what really makes it be nutrient or poison. Same thing with a girlfriend or boyfriend. Your choice must be done according to these important ingredients, not according to, you have to pay attention to when you want to shop. You pay attention. You want to buy a melon, for God's sake, you check it out all kinds of ways. You can't. But you want to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you just, oh, it looks good or has a good job or whatever. So in other words, in a nutshell, you go shopping, take yourself and take this with you. You can't take your dick to do the shopping for you. Just because she's pretty. Oh, okay, I want her. It doesn't work. I mean, you can't send your friend to go and buy a suit for you. You got to be there, check it out, put it on, and see if it fits you or not. So how could you then send this to do one of the biggest shoppings of your life? It's very important. Come on, thing that you want to purchase. So you must not be fooled by your desires and your hormones. You should look at the actual ingredients of that person that you want to create a relationship with. Everybody this day and age looks good. They go to the gym, they wear some nice clothes, colorful clothes, designer things, or they throw their muscles out, or their lady, and they throw other parts out, and everybody can be beautiful, whether by wearing nice clothes and driving nice cars. They can be appealing, or having a nice handbag, or having a nicely shaped dress or whatever, if it's a woman. But really none of that is going to do it if the ingredient inside, the seams, the quality of the nutrition, what's in their psyche, is not of quality. So take yourself with yourself when you go shopping. Don't send your friend to do the shopping for you. And on that note, I hope that you'll have a wonderful day and time. Hope you enjoyed our discussion today, and I'll talk to you soon.